Hey everybody, Mr. John here from the Meredith Public Library, back at you once again with another installment of what we are still calling Quarantine Theater. Today we have another episode of the Overdrive 5, where I take a look at 5 titles available for you to read or listen to now through Overdrive and the Libby app. If you need more information on Overdrive, check out one of my previous videos. All right, today's episode is going to be rated B, as in books for boys. I'm going to take a look at some titles that are perfect for your young male readers. However, there is a twist. They're all by female writers. As a youth librarian, I too often see both children and unfortunately their parents putting down books by female writers because they decide it's not for their young boy. It's sad, it's ridiculous, it's a little maddening, but it is a reality in the publishing industry and has been for a long time, going all the way back to people like the Bronte sisters, probably the most prolific trio of writers of all time. And instead of publishing as Charlotte, Emily, and Anne Bronte, they instead published as Connor, Ellis, and Acton Bell, although the mustaches do look good. Is even a writer like Louisa May Alcott, who did publish Little Women under her own name, has a series of thrillers that she published as A.M. Barnard, because a thriller was decided to be a masculine genre and no one would read a female writer writing a masculine genre. Ridiculous. But again, it was a part of our past and unfortunately a part of the present of publishing as well. Most popular children's book maybe of all time, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. We now know that J.K. Rowling is, of course, Joanne Rowling. But when she was publishing, it was decided again by her publisher that a fantasy novel about a boy would not be read by boys if they knew it was by a woman. So they decided to go by the ambiguous initials. Now, a little funny thing here is that she has no legal middle name, so she chose K for her grandmother, Katherine. Really interesting. She has also gone on to publish a mystery series, crime mystery, starting with The Cuckoo's Calling, which she did under a male pseudonym, Robert Galbraith. A little different here. Most female writers start with the pseudonym or nom de plume and are able to switch over to the real name once they become famous. Unfortunately, she was a little too famous, and she decided that she wanted to publish under a different name so that she can receive actual criticism and not just people bowing down to the world's first billionaire writer, which she was. But Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, this is a big push through Overdrive. There's tons of extra copies, so you will find this available now. All right, up next we have the Unwanted series, which is also available now on Overdrive. This is a really interesting series. It's got a great premise. We start with a very dystopian world, kind of Hunger Games and Divergent, where at 13, everyone is sorted into 3 groups: the Wanteds, the Unwanteds, and the Necessaries. The Wanteds are sent to receive further education, usually wind up in the military. The Necessaries become the laborers, and the Unwanteds are sent to their presumed deaths through this portal. The main character is sorted into the Unwanteds. His twin brother is sorted into the Wanteds, but he knows that this is just how it has to be. He's resigned to his fate. But as he passes through this portal where he thinks he's going to die, he discovers a twist, that this portal has been co-opted by a revolution. Very Dumbledorian character on the other side is allowing all these creative people to flourish, because that's what the Unwanteds were. You find out they're the creative people. Now, on the other side of this portal, all this creativity has allowed a fantasy world to flourish. Really cool series. Goes on from there. 7 books in this series. It's also spawned a 6-book sequel series, The Unwanted's Quest, that takes place 10 years after the original series. This is great. I remember going back to my first teen advisory board meeting in Meredith when I first started there. I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Robbie. Pulled the Unwanteds off the shelf and said, this is the best book we had, and I've been a fan ever since. I don't know why this doesn't get the national recognition that it deserves, why there's no movie series about this yet, but I put it right up there with Hunger Games, Divergent, really above that level, in the Harry Potter realm. This is a great series. All right, up next we have something for a little younger crowd, a little lighter book here, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Edward Tulane is a porcelain rabbit that is owned by a fairly wealthy family. This is a fun adventure and a great character arc too. Edward Tulane starts out very full of himself. He thinks he's the most important toy in the world. And then along the course of his adventure, where he's torn from his family, thrown overboard a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean, and has to make his way home, he grows quite a bit. So we got shades of classics like Winnie the Pooh and Velveteen Rabbit about anthropomorphic toys and coming to life, sort of, in some ways. It's more like Velveteen Rabbit because unlike Winnie the Pooh, Edward Tulane is not able to move around on his own. So it's all just inner dialogue and then the world acting on him. I love the setting, particularly with Edward Tulane. Takes place in the 30s, and this adventure remind me a lot of the Adventures of Tintin by Hergé, one of my favorite comic series of all time. So if you like the setting and adventure style of Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, definitely check out Tintin, and vice versa. All right, up next we have A Wolf Called Wander. This is a bit of a standout on this list in that it's based on a true story. It's based on the life of this guy right here, OR7, otherwise known as Journey. Back in the 90s, wolves were reintroduced to the northern Rocky Mountains. This guy here was dropped in Oregon. Along the way, so they were able to track him, and along the way, he was driven out of where they originally left him. In the book, it is a rival pack that drives him out, but I don't think we really know in real life why he left. But after he did, he went on a 1,600-mile journey. Along the way, he was the first wolf seen in Western Oregon and Northern California in over 75 years. Really cool. So this is, of course, a fictionalized retelling of that. The adventures that he goes along, the animals, and there's a flood at some point. All kinds of really cool adventures that he finds himself going through along the way. If you like this, I definitely also recommend Pax by Sarah Pennypacker. This is from the point of view, or the alternating point of view, of a fox and a young boy who saves him after the fox's family dies. Fortunately, the young boy's family does not want a fox around and force him to abandon Pax in the forest. Of course, that first night, the boy cannot get over his guilt, and he knows what he needs to do. He packs up his things, goes into the woods to save Pax. Again, this is told alternating points of view, so sometimes it's from Pax and sometimes it's from the boy, Wolf Called Wander, all from the wolf's point of view, and is available now on Overdrive. And finally, we have Rooftoppers by Katherine Rundell. This is just a beautiful book. This is one of the most beautiful books that I've read in a long time, especially for this age group. The basic story here is begins with a boat sinking in London Harbor. Very few survivors. One of the survivors, a man, pulls a violin case out of the bay that's been floating, and inside he finds a baby wrapped in sheet music. From there, it's a really beautiful tale of this very eccentric man adopting this girl and raising her. They live a kind of a crazy life. He lets her, eat food off of books and records, and they're goofy and silly, and a lot of fun and sweet. Unfortunately, the authorities discover that he has somewhat illegally adopted this young girl and come to try to separate them. So they go on the run to Paris. In Paris, Sophie, the main character, starts running around on the rooftops at night. It's just beautiful up there, and she's able to get away. On those rooftops, she comes across rooftop gangs, and there's some excitement and adventure there. But the real twist occurs one night when she's running around, and she hears the song from the sheet music that she was wrapped in that was written by her mother. I don't want to ruin too much. I really don't want to say too much about this book. It is just beautiful. One of my favorites. Now, normally on these slides, I have things popping up here and there. The only thing that I really want to pop up here is this quote. Perhaps she thought that's what love does. It's not there to make you feel special. It's to make you brave. It was like a ration pack in the desert, she thought, like a box of matches in a dark wood. Love and courage, thought Sophie. 2 words for the same thing. This is a beautiful book. It's stuck with me for a long time. I really think you're going to love it, and I highly recommend Rooftoppers by Katherine Rundell. All right, folks, that's all I have for you today. Stay on the lookout for more episodes of the Overdrive 5. All right, be safe out there. Be kind to one another, and have a great day. Okay, see ya. Bye.